Hey everybody, coming up on Sports Central, we have some of the best of the best. Charles Barkley with Barkley Bean Bryant and Friends. We also have Mike LePan from the Lakeland Center. Gerald Richardson will be talking about all the things going on at First Tee. Stick around for this edition of Sports Central. Everybody, and welcome to Sports Central. Mark Jackson here along with Neil Duncan, my co-host. And wow, what a month we have coming up. You're going to have to stay tuned to get the latest, the greatest in world, national, state, and local sports activities. And Neil, we've just had a wonderful opportunity to be in a position right now to host literally tens of thousands of people, and those people are staying at the sponsor of this segment, and that is Contempo.
Yeah.
Contempo.
Well, and not only there, but all over the county. It's a great time to be in Central Florida, obviously. So our weather is.
You're wondering where I was going with that, weren't you?
I wasn't sure why. We went to Omaha and came back, but Contempo
Hey,
Vacation
we're back,
Home.
so.
But one of the places that is hosting a number of those events is our first guest here, Michael LePan from the Lakeland Center, and I know they've been very busy.
Oh man, I'm telling you, if you're a fan of high school sports, this is the epicenter of championships. That is right here in Polk County. Mike LePan, the executive director of the Lakeland Center, a man of many hats, not only sports but theater, a variety of entertainment, meetings. Mike, it's an economic engine that is just phenomenal. Pays lots of benefits, not only locally, but we're hosting world-class events at the Lakeland Center. You get your hands full. What do you work like 14 out of the last 17 days? I think you said.
We had a lot
earlier?
of nights going this time of year. It was crazy yesterday because we had the girls' basketball championships going on.
Yeah.
And then we had a large meeting of insurance adjusters and investigators for.
Oh, that's nice.
And then we had the Publix managers meeting in the theater. So it was all kinds of things going on. So it was high energy.
Well, I think people maybe forget that sometimes. It's not just the sports venue, but there's a lot of meetings and conventions going on at the Lakeland Center. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, and it's incredible, particularly with the Yuki Theater, bringing in the finest in the performing arts, and then the Conference Center. Heck, tomorrow night, we're gonna finish the girls' championship. We're gonna convert the arena. Then Sunday night, we're gonna have a sold-out show in the arena with the Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo.
Oh, is that the lady with the big blonde puffed
Talks
up
to
hair?
the Dead. Yeah, she'll be there.
She can talk into dead.
And
huh?
then we're going to convert back over, and then Tuesday start the championships again.
Have you ever seen this woman?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is it like comedy? Is it all serious?
I'm going to tell you.
What's it like?
It's fairly serious, and she talks to the dead. And every time I think that it's some type of gimmick or shtick, I think if it was, everybody'd be doing it.
Right.
So
Something's working.
I don't know what the gift is she has, but it's paying off for her big way.
Well, let's talk about the FHSAA state finals. First, a couple weeks ago, it was wrestling. And tell us a little bit about that event, because I know that event's not easy to put on. You got a great volunteer group that helps you with that. Then talk about girls basketball and then ultimately boys.
Wrestling's interesting because it's kind of like controlled chaos. If you stood in there at noon on Friday or noon on Saturday and looked across the floor, you'd wonder, what the heck's going on in here? It's just craziness. But it all has a meaning, and it all ends up with those last 3 mats on Saturday night for the finals. We take out the 12 mats, go down to 3. And what makes the difference is those volunteers you talked about. We've got an organizational structure in place with folks from throughout Polk County who basically put that championship on that I'm convinced they couldn't replicate it anywhere they would want to go. In fact, a few years ago when they were trying to do an RFP, they wanted to bid it to Kissimmee, and they called us and said, "Can we use your volunteers?" Well, we said, "Well, no." Well, we probably said it more directly. But we said no, and because they can't replicate what we have in regards to presentation of the championships.
That thing with Kissimmee, I'm telling you, they see the value in our properties. There's no doubt about it.
And they got a lot of money.
Yes, they do. Excuse me, Mr. Duncan. Couldn't help myself. They're getting all choked up.
No, you're fine. And we talk about the volunteers and the championship committee. A core of the volunteers then segue over to the girls' state finals. That's actually going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we were able to get you away from the Lakeland Center,
yeah.
but tell us about that, and we're in a renewal process with them as well.
Yeah, we're in the renewal process, and we're going to put on the best championship we can, even more so this year because we're in that last year of the agreement. We want to give them no cause to not want to come back.
Right.
And you're right; those volunteers, a lot of them, just move right on over and continue with us for 3 weeks. And they'll continue on with the girls. And, Roger Deering, the executive director, said something the other day. One of the things that sets us apart is our volunteers. He says, we'll go to some venues and they'll have, one person on their pass door checking people in. We usually have 4 to 6 people on the pass door checking them in a very organized fashion. So that's what, again, those volunteers and the amount of interest that our community and Polk County and Lakeland have in the championships and keeping it here, it would be sorely missed if it didn't come back. And as I said, we're doing everything we can to make sure that it comes back. We've done everything we can financially in our offer to them, and we've done everything we can, I think, organizationally to have them come back. But at the same time, there are other communities out there, as Mark knows with other sports that you guys deal with, that are just as interested and even have deeper pockets than we do because they got more hotels on the beach than we've got in the whole county.
Right.
And they'll throw some great amounts of money at them saying, oh no, bring your championship here. And are they going to be willing to forsake those volunteers and the organizational structure and the quality of the product that they get here for the dollars and for maybe a bigger venue, but they don't necessarily need a bigger venue.
Yeah, it's really all about relationships, and the sports recruiting business has become so competitive. Mike, as you know, and I don't think I could have summarized it any better than you just did, that there's so much money out there, particularly people that don't have the experience hosting events, but it still boils down to creating the very best experience for the athletes and the spectators. And speaking of spectators, the girls basketball, I know wrestling was pretty good. You're about even or maybe a little bit more than last year. Girls basketball, how's that faring?
Yeah, it's doing well. And I was worried about the impact of Bright House because Bright House is broadcasting the finals throughout the state on all the championships. And I was worried that would impact us. Last year they did it for the first time, and it didn't really impact us. In fact, we were up a little bit. This year, and I don't know where we're at for today, but for the first 2 or 3 days, we're up significantly over last year. Again, a lot of that has to do with the draw, but then you think about it, we don't have any Polk County teams in there win the girls' championship this year.
Which is surprising in itself.
Our numbers are still up for the championship. So
well, that's a good thing
yes,
for
it
us
is.
because
Yes, absolutely.
When I say us, I mean the county in general,
Right.
because you have literally thousands and thousands of people coming in, spending their dollars. Restaurants are full. Of course, if you're trying to get a table,
yes.
it might be a little bit tough. But that just makes us all better off because it creates jobs. Well, then those people start spending money. It's a good thing for the entire county and what you guys do. I know that sports is a big part of what's going on at the Lakeland Center, but it's more than just that. Bill Cosby coming in for a second time. I mean, that's phenomenal. He's a big name guy with a clean reputation, and that fits well here.
Yeah, we thought the Bill Cosby show would do well, and we were really reluctant, thinking he wouldn't add a second show. Then he did. So we have that second show on sale now. It's going to be at 5 o'clock, so he'll come and do a show at 5 o'clock.
What date is that, by the way?
The 17th of March.
Okay.
And he'll do a second show at 7:30, which is our normal series holders, subscribers, and so on. So plenty of seats available now for that first show because it just went on sale Monday. But yeah, we're excited about the opportunity to have them for 2 shows. It'd be great.
What's the St. Patty's Day? Is that 15th or 17th?
17th.
17th.
Oh, St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, good way to
Alrighty.
celebrate.
There you
Maybe we'll
go.
wear green.
Tell us about the Classic Albums Live, the tour that you guys have there.
Mike loves that.
Oh, I love the classic
That's
album.
great.
I could sit here and talk for hours on that, but I don't know.
Well, you're an
I have
old
a little bit of
rocker.
time, but we just added a summer series this year. Anytime anybody comes and sees this, it's great because they don't try to be the band, they don't try to act like the band, but they'll do a recital of the album exactly the way you remember hearing it. We've got 4 classic albums coming up over the summer. We start off with, we're doing Elton John's Greatest Hits. We're doing Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Ooh, CCR.
Greatest Hits.
One of my favorites.
We're doing, actually the first show in May is Paul McCartney and Wings, Band on the Run.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll finish it up in, I believe, September with Prince, Purple Rain. So opportunity to come in and hear those albums exactly the way you remember hearing them. And then they come out the second half of the show and they usually do hits from the band. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and I think it's important to note, and you just did, the fact that they're doing it the way you remember hearing it, and it's not somebody butchering the music that you enjoyed.
people, you'll see people and they'll actually, tears will come to their eyes. It's amazing the response that you get from
Wow.
some of those people who hear that album that they grew up with and they heard over and over and over in their younger years. And it really has an emotional impact on folks.
Step back just a little bit, but step forward at the same time, because boys basketball, arguably the biggest impact of the high school championships, and certainly the most popular. What does that mean to the Lakeland Center in terms of staffing? At the same time, you have all these other things going on. I mean, you just have thousands of people every single day, and you're turning them over, each session.
It's an important event, not just for Lakeland Center, because we can fill those dates, particularly in the spring. You see it in hotels, you see it in other venues. The spring's a difficult time, and we can fill it with other types of events. The championships are an important event for Lakeland and for Polk County. The fact that we've had the championships, I referred to it recently as the Omaha of high school championships in Florida, because it's always been here. We really have improved the product for them and made it more fan-friendly and improved the experience for the student athletes over the past 5 or 6 years. So I think we're doing all the right things. The championships have an $8.1 or so million impact for our community. It's, as you said, it's the hotel rooms, it's the restaurants. All those people come to town, they finish their games, they're going to stop somewhere on the way to town and eat. They may stop and get a drink, they may stop and get gas. But it has a great impact for our community for those 3 weeks that it's here. And that's why it's important to keep them here and do everything we can to keep it here.
Well, I know you'll be watching the scoreboard tomorrow, as we do have the opportunity for 2 Polk County teams to potentially make the Final Four and be at the Lakeland Center. Lake Wales will be playing for a regional title tomorrow, and Bartow looking to be back at the Lakeland Center for the 4th time in the last 6 years. So that's going to help attendance, right? If that happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, again, with the girls, we're seeing up numbers and we don't have the Polk County teams,
Right.
but yeah, it certainly helps us a little bit, and it helps the FHSA get their numbers up. Plus, it just
Right.
brings a little more excitement to the championships.
Well, a local
having a
flavor.
local flavor here and having the teams.
Yeah.
And Winter Haven, Lake Wales just missed last year, so you'd like to see them get in. Jim Lee, the connection with his son, who's the coach there, and for many years he's involved with our championship, and his wife Nan is still a volunteer. She's probably sitting at the pass gate right now as I speak. And so there's a certain, you'd like to see it happen for them as well.
Now, that's some good stuff. And Mike, we certainly appreciate, what the Lakeland Center does for the community. And I just don't mean the city of Lakeland. I'm talking about the entire state of Florida and of course Polk County. It's a big deal. And we don't even talk about the customers coming back, to revisit, show their kids and so on and so forth. And we know that happens through some of our research and all that type of thing. But thank you.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of basketball, I'm sure you're familiar if you are a basketball fan. Maybe if you're not, the name Charles Barkley. Well, Barkley Bean Bryant and Friends is a very special event that benefits First Tee of Lakeland. Gerald Richardson, he's going to be with us in our next segment. Before we do that, we have some footage from the 2013 event. Check this out. Mark and Neil will be back.
Well, we're out at the First Tee for the Barkley Bean Bryant and Friends, the 8th year of this event to raise money for kids at the First Tee. And I'm with the legend, the superstar, the professional golfer that's just made Lakeland on the map, Mr. Andy Bean. And Andy, what a treat to be again with you this year.
Well, I don't know about putting Lakeland on the map. I think it's just a wonderful place to be and live, but we're so fortunate the community has gotten behind the First Tee. Charles has been here every year supporting it. It's something that he believes in, and the youth is what we're all about. It's supporting our youth, giving them some guidance, and seeing where they go from there.
Well, Andy, he's been treated so well. Charles has been by the folks in Lakeland, and he said that's why he comes back, and the friendship that you and Brad have established with him, and to see how he takes time out of his busy schedule to come down here and to help us out.
He's just like my younger brother. Anytime, you say, Charles, we need you to do this, and he comes down and gives of his time, and but I think it says a lot about the guy.
Brad, what a great event. You're here, Andy's here, and of course our special guest, Mr. Charles Barkley.
Yeah, we're having a great time. Obviously, we just made 2 birdies on the first hole, so that was pretty good. Charles didn't hit anyone, so we're doing real good so far.
So far, so good.
And oh gosh, what a great thing. We're this little place here. Our first tee does so much to help Polk County, and it's just great. We have great coaches and great volunteers, and of course, having Charles come in makes the day really special. So we're all real happy to be here today.
Buddy Chuck, 8 years I've had the pleasure of getting to chat with you and get to know you over the years, and the most fun of this interview for me is because we get to talk about how much you love these kids, and you had the game last night, you got here today for this, just to show how much this event means to you.
Well, I started coming here 8 years ago, and the people were fantastic. Obviously Publix has been fantastic, and the people of Lakeland have been fantastic. But that's the reason I keep coming. When I originally started here, I was only going to come 1 year. But the people are fantastic, especially the golfers we're playing with. Brad, Andy, and Zig.
Well, it sure is great what you do for all these kids, and I get to talk to them while we're walking around, and they're delighted to be here with you. And it's just a great role model that they get to see in what you do for this community.
Well, I like these kids because they get to go home. They're not mine. That's the best thing about it. I always tell people, other people's kids are great, but you can send them home and you're done with them.
Thanks for joining us for Barkley Bean, Bryant and Friends on PGTV. Hey
everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. In fact, this segment is being brought to you by the Hampton Inn Lakeside, or Lakeside Village. Great place.
That wasn't near as good of an intro as the last one. Try again. No, I'm just kidding.
Good help is hard to find, everybody. Just, we picked him up on the side of the road on the way here.
Some great footage there from the Barkley Bean, Bryant and Friends
Oh,
event.
Charles Barkley's a hoot, Just terrible.
He cracks me up. You ever watch him do the
Worst golf
broadcast?
swing. Worse than yours.
See, I knew it was
You
coming.
ready to move on? Gerald could probably give Charles some golf tips. That's the worst swing I've ever seen.
Wow, it's gotten a little better through the years. It's amazing. He goes sometimes he goes to the range and just stripes them. I don't know if you guys seen him on the range, just a fluid swing. Then he goes on the course and who knows what happens.
Of course, we're talking to Gerald Richardson with the First Tee, and the event's coming up again. He'll be here next week? What's the dates on it?
Friday, February 28th, out at the YMCA Par 3, First Tee of Lakeland. Gets kicked off, gates open at 1 o'clock, and guys tee off, start playing about 2:15.
Well, Jared, a lot of people are not real familiar with the First Tee. I think, quite a few people are more familiar with the 19th tee or the 19th hole or whatever that is. But the First Tee, if my memory serves me correctly, and frequently it doesn't, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you've provided coaching, life skills, all sorts of things to more than 7,000 kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, since we've been open, we've served just over 7,000 kids, and the First Tee is a nationwide youth life skills program that's implemented through the game of golf, which sometimes gets misunderstood. We're not a golf academy that's going to make the kids, the great superstar golfer that, maybe they envision or want to be. We're there to help them with their swing, but that's not our first mission. It's to make an impact on their lives, and that's through our core values program and our life skills program that we implement those core values.
How can kids get involved with the First Tee? Is there a process they have to go through, or is it just if they can get there?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just a matter, of being able to come by, sign up. Our sessions run 8-week sessions. They come once a week for 8 straight weeks, an hour and a half, and we serve ages 4 to 18. We've actually just started a class recently for this is our second year for our younger kids, 4 and 5-year-olds.
Really, that
Yes,
young?
sir.
Is there a website people can go to to find more?
They can go to thefirsttlakeland.org. Has all of our info in regards to our schedules, days, times, prices, pretty much anything they would need to know they should be able to find there.
Yeah. And I know, for a fact firsthand that it's a good experience for the kids. My son, Hunter, You know, I took him out there a few times. He was one of those things where Dad wasn't able to adjust his swing and you know, give him a different perspective, I guess you should say, on the game of golf. But it's more than just learning how to swing a golf club. It's there's, you know, the integrity issue, honesty, and all of those types of things, and values I don't always see in some of the scrambles that I play.
I was going to say, you're talking about pencils with erasers on them, right?
A lot of pencil whipping.
What are some of the things that you guys do offer for the kids aside from the pro? Because it's a place where they can kind of land, right? Because there's the golf side of things, but there's also kind of clubhouse atmosphere.
Yeah, we have, you know, our clubhouse, and actually we actually just did some renovating, some remodeling, and opened the facility up a little more. Did some things a little more functional facility. But our facility is great, you know, for what we do, serving the youth. I mean, our facility is fenced in as a golf course. There's one entrance, one exit. So, you know, the parents who do bring their child up after school or maybe during summer don't so much have to worry about, you know, hey, my kid plays a couple holes and they slip off the golf course, you know, through a road or anything along those lines. But our facility is really top of the line, and Mike Giddens, our superintendent, does a great job with that. Program-wise, we have, you know, all kinds of programs outside of just our first tee classes. We have our junior golf tour. They do tournaments throughout the summer. We also have some during the winter. We have family fun day programs where the family can participate together. Adult leagues for, you know, adults. We're not just a youth facility, which some people have perceived us to be when we first began, but we have, you know, tons of programs for men, women, kids, seniors, youth, you name it.
Barclay Bean, Bryant and Friends. You have 4 superstars that, you know, at the peak of the sports world in their respective sports. The purpose of that, generate revenue and visibility for the program. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect and what day does that take
It's
place?
once again, it's February 28th, Friday the 28th. Gates open at 1. Play starts about 2:15. Trying to gather those guys up and get them to the tee at a certain time doesn't always happen. I know you guys have been there, but
Herding cats.
yes,
Right.
Yes, but it's a great day if, you know, for those who hadn't been out, or if you have before. You know, every year we have some different guys who come out and play. Our headliners are Charles Barkley, Andy Bean, Brad Bryant. This year I know a few others that are coming. Jim Thorpe, who's been before. A couple other Champions Tour players, Dana Quigley, David Frost, Larry Ziegler, and hopefully this year Derek Brooks will be back again. He was there 2 years ago. But, you know, that's just a few. There's a couple other names we're still trying to lock in and round up, but it's a great day. Guys go out, play 9 holes. It's more of a event, a spectating event, coming out to watch, and these guys really put on a show. It's not your typical golf event where hush, be quiet, you can't talk. You know, most of the time Charles is trying to get the spectators to actually make noise, but it's a great spectating event to come out, relax, enjoy the day, and, you know, bring your child or, you know, father, mother, bring them out and enjoy the day.
And this is the 9th year of the event, correct?
Yes, this is our 9th year of having Charles, and it's been great. Charles Barkley has been super for 9 straight years. You never know what you're going to get working with, you know, celebrities.
Right.
And I don't think I could find a bad word to say about him. He's been super. Took all the pictures, all the autographs has ever been asked of him, and he's been spectacular.
You know, Charles has, throughout the years, been a little controversy here, a little controversy there, but I don't think I could agree with you more that here's a man that gets it. He understands that his time is valuable, but he's willing to give it back to the community, back to the youth of Polk County, and my hat's really off to him. You know, he is very cordial, approachable, nice man. It's one of those things that I think a lot of our younger athletes should look to emulate, because he is truly a guy that has a passion for it. You know, it isn't just, oh, I'm doing this because, you know, my manager or my,
It makes me look
you
good.
know,
Yeah.
whatever said, the attorney said, well, you need to enhance your image. He does it because he wants to.
Yeah, and he did, like you say, I mean, he's great. You know, last year, and it wasn't the first year that he's done it, but, you know, he gets done playing on the 9th green, and he grabbed a chair and sat down, and there was probably 75 to 100 kids gathered around him, and, you know, he spoke to them about, you know, the importance of school, and, you know, don't leave school and get your education and go to college. You know, the time that he spends with the kids, that, you know, we don't tell him he needs to sit down and do that, but to sit down and interact with them and have a, you know, a really good conversation, not just, hey, I played basketball and, you know, you guys work on your game and this and that, but he's a super guy.
Well, and this event was created around honoring George W. Jenkins and what he did for children in the community, and it's kind of, so along those same lines, in honoring him, now you have other people that are doing the same thing.
Yeah, very much so. Mr. Jenkins, you know, built the par 3 there, which was the Publix par 3, for youth and his employees, and we've kind of carried on that legacy since he's been gone, and we're glad to be able to do that and continue to grow what he began.
Well, that's some great stuff, Gerald, and you know, the YMCA Par 3 is a phenomenal. Of course, the YMCA. I'm a member of the YMCA, West Central YMCA over in Winter Haven, and you know, when you go in the building, whichever one it is, whether it's the First Tee, your program, or any of the YMCA's, you know, there's emphasis on values, emphasis on you know, mind, body, spirit, and all of those types of things. And I'm a big fan of the YMCA, and I'm a big fan of First Tee. So thanks so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Well, speaking of fans, everybody, we have 2 things coming up here that I'm sure that you will enjoy, because I always do. One of them is Russ Mat Baseball. We have some footage from 2013. Of course, that's the collegiate spring training that takes place over 6 weeks. And then coming up next, we have Bill Tinsley, the official liaison to the Detroit Tigers and one of the architects of a solid relationship, the longest running in Major League Baseball, at least for spring training. Stick around for segment number 3 on Sports Central.
Back here after a 4-year layoff, and the improvements are tremendous. This place is great. The complex is great. Dave Bernard does a great job scheduling everybody. So we're really pleased with the results here coming here this week. We're in Tennessee right now. Memphis is where our hometown is, and we've already played 15 or 12, 13 games before we come down here. But it's just a great chance to come down and play in great weather, on a great venue, a bunch of great teams from all over the country. So it's a positive thing for us, big time. You know, for us, there is a little bit of a pressure just because we're always trying to get our way into the national tournament, so every game does count. But the difference is when we come down here, and the reason why I do it with our team, it gives us a great chance to get together for a week, 10 days, and be together, just the baseball team outside of the college. And it really brings our kids together as a group. In general, so it helps us to get through the rest of the season. It's probably, especially at the Division III level, the kids coming together as a team is probably the biggest thing you have, and these road trips and come down to Florida for spring break is something that our kids treasure, so it's been pretty awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful down here. The weather's great every day. I mean, you got the sunshine and the humidity. It hasn't been too bad down here. Only had one day of rain, which we made that game up later in the evening under the Knights and under the Florida sky. You can't be angry about it. We're from southwestern Pennsylvania, where it's pretty much cold right now. In fact, my mom called me last night. It snowed, so we're looking at 2-3 inches of snow when we get back. So this is, for some teams, it's a big down here to get some games in, increase their rankings. For us, this is pretty much a glorified practice. I mean, it's not that we're not taking the game serious, but this is, for a lot of us, first time on the field. It's a good way to get in some innings. I know last year we threw a lot of innings as a team. We didn't have a lot of pitching staff. So it really lets you see where we're at. Lets me see where I'm at on the year, what I need to work on, what I need to improve on, because once we get home, it's right into conference play. Things get double serious. You got great weather, a lot of scenery outside, a lot of places to eat, a lot of different cultures to eat out of. You know, I've been here. This is my 3rd time now for baseball. This will be, I think, the 5th time overall I've been down here from Florida. So at the same time, you're down here enjoying yourself, but baseball's priority here. So what Coach tries to do is he takes teams, splits us up into groups of 8 and 7 in the houses. So you have a lot of new guys that usually don't interact with each other. You become better as a team, a lot closer, and it makes us better overall.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Mark Jackson if you're just joining us. And if you're not, you ought to know the guy to my right, to your left, and that's Mr. Neil Duncan, my co-host. And Neil, I don't know about you, and I don't know if our viewers know this, but of course this show re-airs every single day, but it's live right now, February 21st, right around noon, and I am hungry, which segues nicely into our next sponsor, and that is Peebles Barbecue.
I was going to do it.
You missed it, buddy.
We might have to leave here and head over there to Peebles on the way back to Lake Myrtle. But
I love Peebles, and
Dale and the whole crew, great people to work with.
Food is outstanding. The kind of the environment is cool, you know, screens and no air conditioning. I'm all over it.
Well, our next guest has a great environment as well.
Man, you're getting good at some of these.
Thank you.
Some of these segues. Well, we saw some great baseball up there with Russ Matt, and these are some of the best college teams in the country that come down here for 6 weeks. But the big punch comes from the Detroit Tigers, and the guy to our right, to your left, in just a second, is Bill Tinsley, and Bill's been with the city of Lakeland for quite a few years, I guess, but I can't say how many. But Bill, we have so much to talk about and look to and for. Wow, kicked off the spring training season, I guess officially for many of us regular folks, with the barbecue last night, and wow, that was a great time, and Jackie Johnson did a wonderful job putting all of that together. Ron Myers and the crew. You still full? I am.
Yeah, it was an absolutely fantastic event, and it has been a tradition. That was the 68th year
for the barbecue.
For Tiger Barbecue.
Wow.
That is the Chamber of Commerce's form of welcoming the Tigers and saying, hey, we love you in Lakeland, Florida. And what a great event it was.
Well, and it's not just, okay, you can use our name, Detroit Tigers. They're there. Dave Dombrowski's there. 2-time MVP Miguel Cabrera was there. My son was there. Logan got his picture with Cabrera.
Just saw that on Facebook.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But they're invested in this, and Dave Dombrowski actually said something last night when he was making his comments that this is the first time in the 78 years that the team is coming back down to Lakeland, having won the Central Division 3 straight times. So it's good times in Detroit when it comes to their baseball team.
It is. This is about Dave's 12th year with the club, and Mike Ilitch, he has the best owner in baseball, and Mike Ilitch. They have a program. It wasn't, they haven't sold out to quote, let's win it all once. They've got a team that's competitive every year. Nobody really, people want to come watch them, but nobody's knocking the door down to play them.
Yeah.
They're a great club.
Well, you know, it's a tremendous organization, and you know, you take a look at not just what they're putting out on the field, but behind the scenes. You know, Mr. Ilitch gives back to the community, millions of dollars back to the community. I know Dave Dombrowski is very supportive of the things that go on off the field because he feels that's important as a business, but also just as a human being to do those types of things back to the community and with the community.
Last night it was especially interesting to watch the engagement between the Lakeland community and these players. People don't realize that these players live in Lakeland, Florida for 6-8 weeks. There are other players that live here 12 months out of the year, but they're gone for 6 months to play baseball. But they reside in Polk County and in our community, and they develop friendships, relationships, people they rely on, and watching the interaction. Many of the players of today are younger players raising families. They love the community because of the playgrounds, the park systems, the YMCA. We've got kids that have got their kids going over to First Tee and get to know Gerald because they want them around the quality of people that make up this community. So we're more and more, and as an organization, we're seeing the Tigers, mostly through Dave's influence, say, this is a place to settle. If you really want to develop your baseball skills, we have facilities here, and we'll support those facilities 12 months out of the year.
Well, it's a 12-month out of the year business here, you know, and that's, a lot of people don't see that. You know, and Bill, you and I hear this, not daily, but pretty doggone close, you know, about all these Major League Baseball players, you know, making all this money. And yeah, well, that's called capitalism, and that's called getting paid, you know, whether you believe it's what they're worth or what they're, you know, not, doesn't really make any difference. The fact of the matter is, it isn't all just one-sided. The players are giving back too. I mean, you see these guys out in the community; they're involved. You know, from Mr. Ilitch, Dave Dombrowski, down to the minor leaguers, the Flying Tigers. You know, it's a 365-day-a-year operation that gives back to the community. You know, and I'm one of the biggest fans. You know, I've been involved in it a long time. We'll leave it at that. But it's something that we certainly can be proud of as a community as well.
Yeah, and Mark, you raise a good point. What the public sees through the media or even through their exposure to spring training games are the Major League players. At that same time of year, this time of year, we also have 5 other teams that are in the minor league clubhouses, and those teams that are those players that are going to be spread all over the country, whose paychecks aren't necessarily very big yet, who historically have had to have secondary jobs to support their love or their development period. More and more of those players are signed out of colleges and so forth, but those 5 teams congregate in Lakeland at that same time. And are developed and then placed on teams that leave here and go to various, and of course our own Flying Tigers you mentioned, that group, and our rookie leagues and our instructional leagues in the fall. There's baseball year-round at Tigertown. Baseball has changed as a business, and it's also a rehab center for all 6 of those clubs. If a player gets injured off the Major League roster, he's coming. We had 2 Major Leaguers that almost spent the summer here as they were rehabbing from significant injuries. But there's a full medical staff and support team that is community supported with Watson Clinic, LRMC, with all of the local resources that are here. But the Tiger have now 22 full-time employees in Lakeland, Florida, who support this year-round operation.
You talk about supporting the year-round operation. Let's talk about some of the things you don't see. Let's talk about the city of Lakeland and the efforts of the grounds crew and making sure the facility is, because when we were there last night going for the Tigers barbecue, the place looks fantastic. That doesn't just happen. Ooh. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, including Governor Scott, who was a part-time employee last year.
Very true. And Mark and I had the opportunity to go to the governor's dinner recently and visit with people from all over the state. And Governor Scott remarked to the crowd again, what an enjoyable experience. He spent the day in Lakeland, Florida last spring as we were working toward the retention bill at the state level, and what a great experience he had. The reason he had such a great experience is because when he went to the fields and actually did manual labor for a period of the day with the ground crew, he bonded with these guys because these are real people who love baseball as much as Miguel Cabrera does. They love their contribution to baseball. If you ask any one of them, they've just won the division title three years in a row because they feel that
Invested.
contribution they give to that.
Well, it is
end
part of the
product.
team, though.
They are part of the team. They're treated that way.
Yep.
We hear of other organizations and other situations where it just ain't so. But that's why we've got 78 years of relationship, is that mutual respect for the job that everybody has.
And I think the funny part about Governor Scott being there last year was, you talk about the economic impact. He'd go 6 or 7 cars in a row, and people would have no idea who he was because they're not from here.
It was so funny to listen to him address one of the very first cars and introduce himself. Hey, I'm Governor Rick Scott. And the guy said, Governor of where? Well, sir, where are you from? Well, I'm from Wisconsin.
Right, Michigan. Or,
Over 60% of the people that are in that stadium visiting that ball game are from out of state. And as Mark said, it's an economic engine on a lot of levels. On a lot of levels.
Yeah, you just can't look at the what we commonly say are butts in seats, which we're seeing right now on the screen. But you know, it's heads in beds. It's people in restaurants. It's in the clinics. I mean, it's just phenomenal how massive that impact is. And you know, you also have to take a look at customer, what we call in the marketing world, customer lifetime value. We get people, as Bill well knows, in fact, better than I do. They will come down in the middle of summer or in the fall when there's literally nothing going on. We know the Flying Tigers play in the summer, but in the fall, because they want to see the stadium, they want to touch the wall. I mean, Bill, you see it all the time.
We do.
But it's just people. This is a destination that's created simply because we have a Major League Baseball team right here.
It is. I got a new appreciation for what Lakeland means to the city of Detroit, and where many of those visitors come from.
They all know where Lakeland
they know
is.
where Lakeland, Florida is.
Yep.
And when I went up to meetings in the middle of January, 11 below, snow, no sun in sight for the next 30 days.
Sounds like a warm summer day in Wisconsin.
And all they wanted to talk
why you live
about
here.
was spring training is when their calendar turns.
Yep.
It's an incredible focus for them because it means that they're going to get some relief from that horrible winter they've had up there. And
Well,
we're excited about them all coming back, but they come to Lakeland with a reverence. You don't have to worry about sending security into the facility with these folks. They come with a reverence and respect for this facility.
When you talk about the Tiger brand, you know, what they mean to the Lakeland market, and people here grow up Tigers fans following them throughout their life, but you look at how bad things have been for the city of Detroit and what that team means to that area, because that city has taken a lot of lumps over the years, and they're selling that stadium out every night.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's incredible the dynamics in Detroit. And it is a changing city. There are a lot of good stories going on in Detroit. Mark, I want to mention something that the Tigers in the community are doing. They have helped sponsor or bring down the show Ernie. It's a dedication.
I was saving not necessarily the best to last, but go
Well,
for it,
I may
because this
talk
is
about
awesome.
it. I may talk about it until it is the last. I'm so excited about this. I had the opportunity with my wife to see this play 4 years ago in Detroit. The play was written by Mitch Albums, who is a famous sports writer. And this gentleman is a very gifted writer sports writer who used to be a beat writer in Lakeland, Florida, come to Lakeland, Florida, as many of these writers do, and stay a month. But this tribute to Ernie Harwell will be playing at the Polk Theater, and one of the old original Fox theaters, historic.
It's a two-person play.
It's a two-person play, the life of Ernie Harwell, and you absolutely do not have to be a sports fan to know. We walk away with an incredible experience. But if you happen to be an Ernie Harwell fan, that everybody that through those long summers listened to a Detroit radio station over that 50-year cycle, heard that booming voice and talk about the house next to the side of the road and all of the localisms that Ernie used in his speech and mannerisms, he captures Ernie in this play so well.
Well, Ernie certainly good Christian man, a real American. He was just a down and out good person. He's a good guy, and there again at the Polk Theater, it's running all throughout the course of
Starts March 13th.
March
13th is the opening.
And you can go to centralfloridasports.com and get more information about it. Or, Bill, you can go to the Polk Theater website.
Theater website and buy the tickets right offline.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bill, you know, we could do a whole hour of this, and maybe next year we're going to have a spring training show because there's so much to discuss and to go over. I mean, it's such a great topic, and you know we're getting into it. I mean, games start next week. By the time some of you see this program, those games some of those games will have already started. So, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Mark, let's put it on our calendar. Let's bring Willie Horton in and talk about the 60 years.
Oh, what a nice guy he
impact
is.
of having a player here,
Absolutely.
an Al Kaline, a Hall of Famer. So we look forward to it.
We'll do that next year. It's already, well, not physically put on the schedule, but we'll make sure it is there next year. Spring training show. Be the first one to talk about it, to see it. Well, everybody, you know, we talked a little basketball because of Charles Barkley a little earlier, but Bartow High School has long been a hotbed for basketball in, at least in Polk County, but also in the state of Florida. Derek Brooks, and not the football player, is sort of a local superstar, if you will. And we have a special spotlight, and what's that called? Up close and personal, that ABC Sports used to use on this special athlete. Check this out. Mark and Neil, we'll be back with segment number 4 right after this. Stick around, everyone.
I would say I started playing basketball around the age of 6 or 7. I played in a little, basically like a little rec league in Georgia where I'm from. I actually don't know. I used to be a 3-sport athlete. I used to run track, play football and basketball, but over the years, I just started growing into basketball and I started putting my main focus on basketball. I would say that my dad inspired me to play basketball because he was always like, when I was growing up, I watched him play. Like he played in the YMCA men's league, and so I used to always go to the games and just watch him play, and then he just put a basketball in my hand. And then ever since then, you know, I just fell in love with it. Currently, one of them would be Derrick Rose because he's my favorite point guard in the league. Whenever he's playing, I like the way he plays as far as like playing explosiveness. You know, he know how to attack his man, run his team. I like Kobe also because Kobe, you know, he just has that winning mentality. Like he knows when to take over the game. I'm trying to like, you know, get that a part of my game. You know, that would be. And then my favorite college player right now currently would have to be a player called Ryan Brown. He's a guard at the University of Miami, number 15. And he's really my favorite guard because we're from the same place, so he was somebody to look up to as I was coming up. The recruiting process, it was real tough. Like I went from playing with a team called D12 Warriors in 10th grade. It was like a real high major D1, not D1, but real high major AAU team. You know, we had a couple players on our team that was getting highly recruited. I think that's when I first started getting noticed. And then last year, I played with a team called Q6. And then, you know, we went to a couple tournaments, you know, started getting recruited by a couple high major schools, a couple of mid-majors. Eventually, I ended up choosing Wofford College that's in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I would say I had to choose them because the coaching staff, you know, they reminded me of the coaching staff here at Bartow. Like, you know, it wasn't just one coach recruiting me. Like, the whole coaching staff would text me, like, throughout the week. Like, sometimes I get 2 text messages from each coach a day. You know, just simple stuff like, hey, how you doing? How's school going? How's your mom doing? How your dad doing? You know, just asking me questions simple like that. You know, and then when I took the visit up there, the place was just beautiful. Like, it was, you know, the people, they friendly. The team, you know, they all, you know, laid back and, you know, they know how to have fun and stuff like that. And so basically it just reminded me so much of Bartow to where I was just like, this must be the place for me. Only God really knows what the future holds. Hopefully, you know, it's in his will that I get to go to college, you know, pursue my dreams in playing basketball. I plan on getting a major in computer science, you know, so hopefully after that I can, you know, do something with that whenever basketball is over for me. I would say it would have to be maintaining a 3.8 grade point average. Like my 9th grade year, I thought it was gonna be the hardest year since it was my first year of high school, but I actually had a 4.0. And then like over time, like I just tried to keep it at least over a 3.6. I just like, put my main focus on that and then basketball. So I would have to say that I got a lot of people I listen to. I'll say some of them would probably be J. Cole, Lil Wayne, Wale, Rich Homie Quan, Yo Gotti. It's just a whole bunch of people. Free throws, I tried to imitate Ryan Brown's routine. It's not exact, but it has some similarities as far as like how many dribbles he take, the spins that he used. Other than that, I just try to go out there and just play hard the whole time. My best friend would have to say that I'm a funny guy. I'm real cool to be around. Like I may be quiet, but like whenever I know you and the real me come out, then you have a real good time being around me. I like to joke around, just have fun, just live my life basically. I would say the one word to describe me would be driven, because no matter how many accomplishments I make, I'm always striving to be better. Like anybody can just come up to me and say, "Hey, you're a real good basketball player." I'm gonna take the credit. I'm gonna say, "Hey, thank you." But in my head, I'm always thinking, "Hey, there's always room to improve. Got to get better every day." And I'm not gonna be satisfied until I'm where I'm at.
Everybody, and welcome back to Sports Central. Mark Jackson and Neil Duncan here. This segment being brought to us by the Hampton Inn of Winter Haven, which is a very, very busy place right now. In fact, you're going to have a tough time finding a room if you have guests or friends or whatever coming down, because, Neil, things are hot here in Polk County, literally, as we speak. 84-degree day today, and wow,
it's a great time to be in Central Florida, and a couple of the pieces that we just saw there before we came back for our fourth and final segment. Derek Brooks from Bartow High School, the athlete spotlight, and really he's a senior point guard for Bartow. You look at this Bartow team; they're playing tomorrow night for the regional title, trying to get back to Lakeland Center, a chance for another state championships. I believe they're fifth, but they were 5-8 at Christmas break. The team was 5-8. Now, Terrence McGriff, head coach of Bartow High School, always plays a ridiculously hard schedule, so that's part of the reason why. But really put them on their back, and now they're 19-10 and in the regional finals. So Derek's already committed to play in college, and they're doing well. And then you look at the Universal Shooting Academy, that little teaser piece that we had there. The World Shoot.
That is a teaser piece. I mean, there's
just
no
enough
words.
Information. Nope.
And so that'll be a sequence, though, that leads up to the Super Bowl of shooting sports.
Yeah, in
and
October.
That's coming up in October.
October, the World Shoot, and we've mentioned it a lot. But I want Universal Shooting Academy in Frostproof. But I want to thank PGTV and the crew, Kate, and everybody, because you see the quality of product that this PGTV puts out. They produce that entire commercial for us, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do at tourism and sports marketing.
Well, there's some real talent behind it. Not just here. There, I should say there.
It's a little self-promoting.
Yeah, just here. No, but, I didn't mean it that way.
No,
what I meant is that this stuff just doesn't appear by magic.
Right.
You have producers, you have, mixers. It's just phenomenal amount of talent, but it's a service that's provided to our citizens and the guests.
Right.
Literally, the hundreds of thousands of guests that come in and see this every year, and it's what makes Polk County such a special place, and it's something I'm proud of.
Yeah,
I'm proud of as a Polk County citizen, and to be able to see that type of programming at a local level. But covers world stuff too.
Right. Well, it gets the message out there, and it helps us to actually recruit events here, and World Shoot
World
being
stuff,
one of them.
Boy, that's descriptive.
Right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Detroit Tigers spring training. Of course, you can get a full schedule of that.
Yankees coming to town the 28th. So if you're a Yankees fan, check them out. The Braves play the 27th.
Yeah, that'll actually be the kickoff. The 25th, they'll play their annual Florida Southern College
Southern game, yeah.
exhibition, and they go to Orlando, take on the Braves, come back the next day against the Braves, and then the Yankees, as you spoke about. FHSA boys basketball finals will be starting. It'll be the February 25th through March 1st, and we had Michael Pan on here earlier.
Bartow going to make it?
I think so. I think they're going to win tomorrow.
Who's the guy that's 6'10"?
Tony Bradley, a 6'10" sophomore for Bartow High School. Everybody in the country is recruiting him right now. In the regional semifinals, he had 25 points and 20 rebounds. So he's pretty fair. We're going to see him on an athlete spotlight pretty soon here, but he's only a sophomore.
Well, we had a spotlight a little bit earlier on RussMatt Baseball, which is the largest spring training event in the country for collegiate, at least. And you know, Neil, it's right here in Polk County. So teams, 215 teams, I believe, this year, all throughout the country. I mean, we get teams everywhere from Air Force Academy from California all the way to the East Coast.
A lot of great teams.
Oh, you know, Big Ten teams. This is an awesome time to see both Major League Baseball, collegiate baseball, high school baseball.
And it's not just about baseball here in Central Florida's Polk County. We also have the 2014
Lacrosse.
Orange Cup Regatta. Well, I was going to go to the boat races, but we have spring training with lacrosse. But the 28th, last show, we had Gene Engel on talking about the Orange Cup Regatta, February 28th through March 2nd. So get out there to Lake Hollingsworth, the Lake of Records.
Lake of Records,
Yep.
Lake Hollingsworth. What are the dates of Orange Cup?
28th through March 2nd.
28th through March 2nd. And that, I'm telling you, competitors from all over the world coming to this event, and it's free. We had Gene Engel on the show a couple of weeks ago. It actually aired right up till today, and wow, what a fantastic opportunity to see the best boat racers on the planet, if you will, and it's a very, very exciting time. We're talking about spring training, though, Neil. You can't leave out part of the big spring training effort the sports marketing has undertaken. Now includes not only baseball, but college lacrosse and college girls fast pitch softball.
Rebel Spring Games, yeah.
Unbelievable event with tens of millions of dollars pumping into Polk County.
Absolutely, and as we're ending the show here, there's so many events we certainly can't even begin to read them off.
Where can they get it?
You can always go to centralfloridasports.com or visit centralflorida.org, or you can tune in to the radio version of Sports Central on Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on Talk 1430 WLKF.
Well, that's some awful good stuff. Neil, I know we have a couple of people to thank before we sign off from this. It really wasn't designed as a special edition, but we had some very special stuff, and we're so glad that you did join us.
Yeah, we want to thank The Ledger, Abuelos, Hollywood Window Tinting and Signs, Holiday Inn Winter Haven, and Peebles Barbecue, which we leave that for last because we'll go ahead and wrap up here and then go there.
As we're salivating here over Peebles Barbecue, it's some great stuff. Well, everyone, if you would like to see Mark and Neil again and our very special guests, you can do that. You can check us out every single day at the following dates and times, but make sure you check your local listings. And our next live show will be coming at you again on March 7th, God willing, and the creeks don't rise. But Neil, it was a pleasure.
You are full of those sayings today.
I've got more sayings. I don't know where those things came from. I'm just a rural kid
somewhere
from
in the backwoods of Wisconsin.
That's
where they come from.
That's it. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Have a very special, blessed day. This is Mark Jackson for Neil Duncan and all the crew at PGTV. We thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.